Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the on-track series video for the French tier 10 light tank, the AMX 13105. So if you've not seen an on-track series video before, I haven't actually done one for a fair while, and that was, well, yeah, I haven't done one for a fair while since my laptop basically said, no, you can't make videos for more than 10 minutes, otherwise I will blow up. So it's been a couple of months, and yeah, an on-track series video is basically where I play through the entire line from tier 5 to 10, go through what equipment I run, what crew setup I run, and it lets you see some of the possibly lesser spotted tanks in a line, and you can see what it's like if you're going to anticipate grinding up it, for example. Because there are some tanks that, I'll take the AMX 12T, for example, which is the tier 6 on this line. It's a tank that you're not going to see all that often in YouTube or anything like that, because it's not one that people often go back to play once they've ground through it. You know, it's just one of those tanks. Tanks like that you don't often see. You might not know what it's like when you're going to be grinding through it. That's why I like the on-track series, because it lets you have a look at it when it's playing at its best as it can be. And it lets you show sort of how you can play it to get the best out of it. So we're on the tier 5, and the tier 5 is the AMX ELC BIS. This used to be an absolute meme of a tank because it had a 90mm that was fantastic, it had pretty damn good mobility, pretty damn good view range, and it just slapped hard. And it was a lot of fun. That was back when it used to see up to tier 8. But obviously when they did the light tank changes, the whole French light tank line changed, and they all got adapted to be +2, -2. And they hit the ELC AMX, well, the AMX ELC BIS very, very, very hard. So they made the 90mm, not the 100mm, the 90mm gun have not that good a pen. It has 120 and 150, so 120 AP pen, 150 APCR, which isn't the best. And it had a damn horrendous reload, horrendous accuracy and aim time, and it still had the limited gun traverse. And yeah, it just made the tank not great to use with that gun. I just don't like that gun on this tank anymore. It was the first, this is the first tank that I actually had a 1v5, or, well, it was 1v5 with min artillery, and then the artillery got killed and shotgunned another one anyway, and it ended up me versus a 1v4 in a tier 8 game. And it was the first time I ever carried a game where I felt like, oh my god, I did that, you know. It was an incredible experience, and to be honest, the old school ELC BIS was just it was an experience. It's such a fun tank to play. But the camo and the view range, you can still get up to be a decent level, and you can have some absolute memes with it. Because what did they change with it? Well, obviously, like I say, they destroyed the 90mm gun, and they added this gun in, which is the 75mm gun. It meant you had full turret traverse. You've not got very good pen. It's like 100 and something pen and 120 odd premium pen. The pen isn't brilliant, but rate of fire is pretty decent. This is without a rammer. This rate of fire is pretty decent, and you can get some good shots in. You just have to make the gun a little bit less derpy, and it generally helps the tank play a lot better. You can still use the 90mm to have some YOLO fun and slap hard for a light tank, but I couldn't recommend that gun. I don't think that gun is anywhere near that good anymore. So, what do I run as a crew on this tank? Well, on this tank, you want to max the gun and the camo, sorry. So I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Run and Gun, Steady Aim, Track Mechanic, Camouflage Expertise, and Muffled Shot. Now, I run this crew setup on every single tank in the line because it just helps to make the guns 10% better, as always. And because you're a light tank, it's always nicer to be 10% more accurate while you're on the move. And as well as that, again, you're a light tank, you want to make your camo better, so having the Camo Expertise and Muffled Shot will help you a lot, because, well, help you a lot in a lot of situations, because it makes your camo generally a lot better, and it helps you to not get spotted that much when you do fire from behind cover. So, in this game, we just narrowly avoided an awkward moment there, and we managed to shut down the Hetzer. We got very lucky there. We've got 2 guys in the cap. Oh, and by the way, the replay, I don't know why it's so pixelated at times. It's kind of annoying, but it's still a good game. I just don't know why it did that. Anyway, we have to get a reset into this cap. So I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to YOLO in to spot the cap and try and get a shot on the move. But unfortunately, this gun isn't the best on the move. We do slow down enough to make sure the final shot is going to hit that guy. And we do manage to reset the cap. I risk it for the biscuit again to get the reset in on the other guy. And we've managed to fully reset the cap there by doing that. And then we've loaded the premium because this is a KV-220. With the standard rounds on this tank, we are not penning that thing. And we probably even won't pen it that much in the turret either. So we need the APCR to even breach this guy. And we are going for his weak spots, which is in his turret. Because it's one of those tanks that's got KV-3 hull, but like the stock KV-1 turret. And the turret is the weak spot. It's where you want to be shooting. If you try and shoot it in the rear, you're more likely to bounce because it's nearly as well armoured or just as much of a pain to pen as the front is for a tank like the ELC. Now, unfortunately, we bounced a standard round there on the Panzer T25, but we do manage to shut him down just as he shuts down my friend, which is really unfortunate. But now we've got this bush in between me and the T28, and like I say, the camo on this tank is dirty. So we're managing to stay on spotter. We managed to get the final shot in to shut down the T28, and now there's one tank left. We fortunately get missed there, and I actually thought the shell came from on my right, but in fact, it turns out the Su-85B is on my left. And I know that I've got better mobility than that guy. I know I've got better camo. I know that I know his view range is awful. So if I spot this guy and fire through cover, the likelihood is he's not going to see me. And unfortunately for that guy, that range true. And we managed to track him in place. And we're just going to farm this guy out to finish him off. With the ELC and the camo, you can pull off some absolute memes. Like you saw in this game, I pulled up to the most aggressive bush at E4 and stayed unspotted for most of the start of the game. And you can have a lot of fun with that. And we finished that game with 8 kills, 2.7k damage, 797 assisted. The Devastator, Radley Walters, Ace Tanker, Top Gun, High Caliber, Defender Medal, Scout Medal, 2.2k base XP. Really nice game for the ELC, the AMX ELC BIS. And it can be a bit of a fun tank, but it's just not what it was. And for me playing it, I always played it and went, it's just not what it was, you know. In terms of equipment I run on that tank, by the way, I run the Camo Net, Vert Stabs, and Optics, and that is pretty much what I run on every single tank in this line. Camo Net, Vert Stabs, Optics. Making the gun as good as it possibly can be, because the guns on these tanks are fairly derpy. So having that 20% better accuracy with the Vert Stabs is great. Camo Net, because like I say, just maxing out camo on these tanks is brilliant. It's exactly what you want to do. And then Optics, because, well, you're a light tank. You're supposed to spot. You're a scout, right? So you want to be spotting as much as you can. So having the Optics in there is great. So we're on to the Tier 6, the tank I was on about a moment ago, the AMX 12T. It's not a tank that you see all that often. And it's a tank that I never used to like, personally. I always thought it was a chore to play, and that was back in the day when I played it. It had these, well, it's the same as the 1375 was and the 1390. They had 6-shot autoloaders. And back in the day, it used to see tier 9s, and that was just horrendous with this gun. Now, this tank now has a 4-shot autoloader, and it's pretty decent. I wouldn't call it a great light tank, but you can get some nice clips off. As you've just seen, we did that on the VK3001H. And like I say, bear in mind, for the crew and for the equipment setup, it's exactly the same as the ELC. Same crew setup, the Camo Net and the Vert Stabs and the Optics as well. It's the same for the whole line, okay? And that's what I run for the same reasons I gave a minute ago. But this tank can be pretty good, right? Because it can be a decent little scout. It's got, I think, 360 meters view range, which means you can get it up to a decent level. You've got this 4-shot clip, which means you're not generally hanging around for that long to dump it. A 16-second reload is pretty damn quick for it as well. Obviously, the intra clippers, I believe, well, we'll see in a second. I believe it's 2.5 seconds. Yeah, 2.5 seconds on the intra clip, which is fairly long. It does mean that you fire the first 3, and most tanks, you manage to get those first 3 in unharmed, and then they finally, you know, swivel around and get you. We've got this KV-1S, and it's like, hello, friend. And that's what I'm talking about with that last shell. I hung around because it was like, right, I've got this guy pinned. I'm going to get this final shell in. He snaps his gun on target and just hits me with the derp gun and pens me, which means I'm now on very, very low health, and we're on 1600 damage. We're having a decent game so far for a tier 6 light tank, but I want to get more, and yeah, I'm not on the health for it because that KV-1S did hit us with his big 122mm derp gun. Unfortunate, really, but it is what it is. Now, luckily enough, we end up bouncing the shot there from the VK3001P. I think I was a little bit tilted at this point because that KV-1S had just snapped us with his derp gun, and I was like, oh, really? Come on now. And I just make a bit of a YOLO play. But we get away with it, and, you know, that's always the thing. We're causing havoc, causing disruption in these enemy lines. So we're just getting the clip back in, and we're going to go up behind this VK3001P now, who wouldn't be expecting us to reappear. We get a nice shot into the side of the Brumbar, and we're just going to finish off getting the clip into this guy while he's distracted. And then running this way. Now, my plan is to try and get behind the heavy tank, but then it's like, oh, there's another tank. Oh, cool. I'm going to try and get behind cover, keep weaving, ducking, dodging, dipping and diving, and dodging. And now we've got the clip in. It's like, well, okay, I'm unspotted. I'm going to pull into a position where I can get this shot into this KV-85, and we shut him down. Because thankfully, he drove into a position we could shoot him. So now he's gone. I'm just thinking, right, okay, I've got to keep flanking. There's the Brumbar over here. He's distracted with someone else. We get the auto-aim shot straight into his side. Probably should have aimed that to guarantee it, but it is what it is. We managed to shut that guy down, and now there's this artillery. We've got 2 shots. And through the cover, we managed to finish off the AMX 13AM. And we finished with 2.6k damage and 223 assistance. A nice game for a light tank on Ghost Town, which isn't the best map for it. And we finished with 8 kills, 2.6k damage, 223 assistance. The Devastator, Ace Tanker, Radley Walters, and Top Gun, and the High Caliber. 2 games, 2 Radleys. Lovely. 1798 base XP. The 12T, it's an okay light tank. It's one I'm not truly fond of, to be perfectly honest. And that is because the intro clip does feel just that little bit too long. And I do think it's a little bit sluggish. But nowadays, with the ability to max out the camo, and obviously the ability for vert stabs just to be a 20% buff to accuracy and having steady aim and run and gun, the gun isn't as bad as it used to be. And it actually does hit shots a lot more than, like I say, it used to. And that is quite nice. But it's a tier 6, it's okay. Is it bad? No. Is it kind of fun at times? Yes. Is it kind of annoying at times? Yes. And it is what it is. And we're on to the tier 7 now. And we're on the AMX 1375. Another tank at tier 7 that can be a little bit underwhelming here and there, because it's not the quickest. It goes at 60 kilometers an hour, and I can hear the shouts of use the traction system, use powertrain, whatever, get up to 66 kilometers an hour. True, but to be honest, the gun handling isn't the best, so I wanted the vert stabs again to make the gun handling just better for situations like this. And again, just having it so that the camo is good and the view range. So we get the first clip in, which is really nice. And like I said, the reason I want the vert stab as well, because it's just how quick this reload is. There we go, 10.4 with a food boost. We have a damn good reload. And of course, the first shot we take sets us on fire, is what it is. But we do manage to shut down the wheelie boy light tank. We got rid of him, which is good for us because they're pretty good at killing other light tanks. And we wanted to get rid of that man. Unfortunately, we did get set on fire, like I say, with the first shot we took, which is just typical. But it is what it is. And you see, with this tank, that 2 second intro clip is a lot nicer to use. Generally, this tank is a step up from the tier 6, and it does feel like a step up from the tier 6 with the way the gun handles. But it just is a little bit... Right, it's a little bit slow with its mobility. You've just got to play it right to make the most of it, generally. You know, keep yourself at range and sort of assassin type run and gun. So get in there, get your clip off, and then get out of dodge. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to flank, I'm trying to keep different shots going, and I'm trying to just pop up in different places and make sure I can get shots in. I'm trying to get rid of this LTG because getting rid of the light tank is helpful. We fortunately enough just dodged some shots there. Now, there is one thing that is a bit of a problem for the 12T, for this tank, for the batch at 12T, for the 1390 and the 13105. It's a problem really across the whole line, is ammo capacity. Now, they don't really actually carry that much ammo. They all fire, well, except for the tier 10, they all fire pretty quickly for what they are. And there's been a lot of games where I do run out of ammo, and it just becomes a little bit awkward. Hopefully, if they ever reforge this line, it's one thing that they'll give it, and that is ammo capacity. They'll just buff the ammo capacities of the tanks. That would be quite nice. it's always annoying to have a tank balanced around the fact that it fires quite quickly, but then runs out of ammo. And then that just harms your ability to effect change in the game. It's kind of annoying in that way. But so far, we've managed to get to the enemy base. We've shut down the artillery, which is good for our team, because ours is still in play. Theirs is gone, which means our team can reign free on theirs, and obviously our artillery will punish theirs for camping, as artillery does. And we managed to get up behind the rest of their team. So we've got this SU-130PM in front of us. Unfortunately, we just missed a few of the shots there. Unfortunately, they just hit the floor. And now there's this 252U, which is the unskinned defender who's harming our Progetto. He's turned for us, which is great. We get a shot in which tracks him in place. 2 shots in. And then, unfortunately, a problem that also does affect all of the French, all French tanks in general, is the oscillating turret, and we actually lost our gun elevation there as we were shooting at the SU-130PM. Something to bear in mind, if you're on a ridgeline and you decide to go down it, you will lose the ability to look up and shoot other tanks. That can hurt you a little bit, as you saw with the SU-130PM. When we did it, the gun jerked down. That meant we actually ended up missing the SU-130PM. It is what it is. Unfortunately, we don't get in there to be able to get a shot into the ISU-152, and there's just one tank left. It's the K91 version 2, or Dash 2. And it's somewhere towards our base. And there we go. We get spotted by the artillery that's in our base. It's like, right, we've got to get over to this guy and get some shots in. We've only got premium left, which means quite likely to pen it. Because we've got 202 pen on our premium, which is nice. It's like 144, I think, on the AP, which is decent. I mean, you get the same gun on the tier 6 as you get on the tier 7. And it's really good pen at tier 6. At tier 7, it's decent. It means you can, I mean, you're a light tank. It's good enough for getting around the flanks of people and getting shots into them. They're, you know, you're not naturally going to have the pen to be able to go through the fronts of a lot of tanks. And you only got to deal with tier 9, so 202 pen is enough to go through that. Unfortunately, the first shot there whiffs, and I have zero idea where. But we do manage to get the other 3 shells in and get a nice little bit of damage on him. And like I say, just look how quickly this tank reloads. We are about to get the clip back in again to go all over again on this K91 version 2, and unfortunately we bounced there at a weird angle. We bounce again off his upper plate, which is a strange angle. We get one into his lower plate, and he gets shut down by the T28 HTC. And we finish the game with a nice total finish with the victory. 2 kills, 2.9k damage, 1190 assistance from just running around like a lunatic. The Ace Tanker, the Confederate Medal, 1786 base XP. A pretty damn nice game for the Tier 7 1375. And like I say, it's an okay tank. I think there's quite a few Tier 7s at the, well, quite a few light tanks at Tier 7 that are just sort of, they're border on okay, right? They're just sort of, they're quite fun to play. And, you know, they're just alright to run around in. Over the 1375, I think I do prefer the T71DA because it's got that slightly bigger clip and it just dumps the clip a little bit quicker, and it's kind of nice in that regard. As well as the mobility being a little bit better. I don't know. It's an alright tank. Again, this line was one of those that back in the day, I didn't like the Tier 6 or the Tier 7. Nowadays, like I say, because the clip's a little bit smaller, I kind of do. I did enjoy playing through them again. But I would prefer a lot of other light tanks over them. And the Batchet 12T, this tank that you're seeing now, the Tier 8, is okay. Again, it's sort of a mediocre Tier 8 light tank. And I didn't really enjoy the line, truly, until I got to the Tier 9. The 1390 and the 13105 were a lot of fun. This tank, again, it's just sort of mediocre. I wouldn't say there's nothing too strong about it, but there's nothing too bad about it, right? You've got a low alpha gun for Tier 8. You've got a small clip. You've got damn good camo, though, and pretty damn good mobility at 68 kilometers an hour. So if you make the most of that, you can do some damn good spotting with it, and you can get a fair bit of damage out as long as people don't look at you. So with this Batchet 12T, what I do tend to do is, again, run and gun, get myself into positions to use the camouflage, use the view range, because it does have good view range, and try and get assistance. So right now I'm trying to see where I can possibly get some shots out with this clip, but we know there's tanks at the back. Fortunately enough, there is the other light tank that is running around over there and spotting them. So I'm going to try and move forward into a more aggressive position to be able to try and get shots at the things that were lurking over there. Now this UDES is here, and I'm like, right, okay, I'm just going to do what I want to do to this guy, catch him by surprise, dump my shots in, so that's exactly what we're doing. We get 2 in, 3 in, and then we go for the 4th shot, and we've get that in. So we've got 690 damage there. Decent total. Like I say, it is a low alpha clip. Can be a little bit disappointing compared to a few of the other tanks out there. But it is what it is. You just got to be an absolute nuisance with this tank. And it's the same as it is with the other tanks. You just got to be a bit of a nuisance. Be a presence and try and just keep annoying the enemy so that they make stupid mistakes. And then keep spotting them as well. Because you do get assistance as the batch at 155.55 shuts down that E50 that was in front of us. And we end up with 1400 assistance. Unfortunately, as we move forward, this tank here ends up spotting us. It's the T-77. And he was ready for us. He got a big shot into us there. Rather unfortunate. We're on to 227 hit points, which is not good, because you kind of want the hit points for a bit later, especially being an autoloader. You want the hit points to be able to clean up in the end game, as that's what they're very good at. But we've got in a position now where we can get some shots at this UDES 16. Unfortunately, we missed the first one because we hit the building. The second one, I have no idea where it goes, and we unfortunately don't get to fire anymore. I hit the reload because, well, there's no point having 2 shells in the clip and holding on to them with such low alpha. There's just no point in that. And we have 12 shots, so that means we actually have 3 shots left in the clip, so really, or 3 clips left, I should say, so it helps us there. We actually spot this Emil 2 out in the open. He's AFK, and it's like, well, I cannot move up with this guy here. It's really annoying. There's still so many of their tanks left. He gets unspotted, and it's like, well, I'm going to spot him again for my team. And like I say, the problem is with this guy being here, even if he's AFK, you have to shut him down. You can't just ignore him. Don't even bother driving up to him right next to him, because he will spot you, and then their team can just shoot you. You have to stop and get rid of the tank, and that's exactly what we did. Now there's a T-95 on that ridgeline, and that's exactly why we couldn't get spotted by that guy, because something like the T-95 would just blap us and end our day, which wouldn't be good. Well, their artillery's in the open, and it's always good to get the piggy out. We get 1 into the piggy, 2, and we get the 3rd in to shut the piggy down, hit the reload. We've got 1 clip left, and if we end up trying to reload after this clip, we're only going to have 1 left. We're going for the other piggy now. We get unspotted. He is actually below the ridgeline, and now there's this Sturmpanzer. It's like, well, okay, I'm going to use this camouflage and the cover in front of me here to get shots into this Sturmpanzer and hopefully, you know, stay unspotted, which is exactly what happened. And we'll get some big damage into him, and hopefully our friends will get here to get some shots in. So right now, I'm waiting for the reload. We've only got APCR left. Well, we've got 2 shots of AP, but there's no point loading that. We've got APCR left, and I'm just using my camo to the best of my ability, staying in this bush until I'm ready to fire. We get 1 into his tracks to track him in place, and then we shut down the artillery. Clinical takedown of that guy there, if I do say so myself. We waited. We didn't get panicked that that guy was charging towards us. And then when we did get spotted by him, we tracked him in place so that he couldn't turn his gun on us, and we got the rest of the damage in. Now we've got this T-95 in front of us, and he's unfortunately going to suffer the turretless TD syndrome. But not before we end up mucking up most of the clip. Now, we ended up taking awkward shots there at the rear of the T-95, which meant that we ended up ricocheting because we were taking awkward shots at his side, which was pretty damn well angled. And the T-95, I don't have to tell you, the Doom Turtle is a pretty damn armoured tank. And that meant that we weren't going to pen that. But we do have his rear now, and we're just dumping the shells in. And we're making sure we're shooting the lower part so that we will pen and not just ricochet off the top half. And we shut down, well, we don't shut down the T-95, but the Conqueror shuts him down. But we got the whole clip in. We're up to 2.1k spotting, 3.8k damage, which is really nice. There's the Sturm Tiger P and another TD left. I'm just hoping the Sturm Tiger P kept driving out. But unfortunately, he's got himself in one of those positions where it's like he's literally just immune to me. I end up shooting the building there, which is really unfortunate, but he gets shut down by the rest of my team. We hit the reload button because there's 1 tank left. It's the SU-101. And it's like, where is this guy? I want this full clip. Like I say, the Batch at 12T, even though it's got, obviously, a low alpha clip, low alpha gun, it does reload pretty quickly, so that if you do need to switch ammo, or you need to just reload a clip and have a full clip ready, you reload it in 15 seconds, or 15.7 seconds, which is pretty damn nice. And like I say, you want to be running the camo net, vert stabs, and optics. I mean, if you didn't want to max out the camo, you could drop the camo net and run vents to make like the view range better, to make the gun handling better, all that sort of stuff. But I just, like, the way I wanted it, well, the way I want it to be is so that I have the better camo for situations like when that artillery was coming towards us and where that Sturmpanzer was, where they just can't see us. We managed to try and get the shot into the SU-101. The first one missed, but fortunately enough, we get the shot in to finish off that SU-101. And we finished the game with a good total for the batch at 12T. We finished the victory. 4 kills, 4.3k damage, 2,000, nearly 200 assistance. Ace Tanker, Pascucci's Medal High Caliber, 2.1k base XP. Batch at 12T, like I say, it's a pretty mediocre tier 8 light tank. Can be enjoyable in a fair few situations, but a lot of the time it's quite hard to get the best out of that tank, and it can be just a little bit of a pain. But now we're on to the tier 10. And the tier 10? Did I say tier 10? Tier 9. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're on the tier 9. And the tier 9 is... It's just the 1390 is just such a beast of a tank. It is so, so good. It used to have a 6-shot autoloader with this gun at tier 8 because it was the highest light tank in the line. And it was okay. But it did have a big alpha clip. You know, 6 shots of 240 is a lot. And you could basically just... It was similar to the Bulldog with the 10-shot autoloader. You could just go in and assassinate people. And that was great. But then, it wasn't like a standout light tank at tier 8, you know. It wasn't the standout. This at tier 9, though, the way that they changed this tank with the 4-shot autoloader, faster firing, the APCR standard and APCR premium, it just became an absolute beast. It's so much fun to play. It does heavy amounts of damage. It's got good camo. It's got good reload. You've got pretty damn good mobility. And it just means that you can do stuff like this, which is catch tanks out in the open, bounce off the lower plate, obviously. But you can get, you know, some big damage out like that, which we end up with a decent amount of damage from that clip. You've got like 205 pen and 240 something premium pen, which is really damn nice. Means you're pretty much going to pen most things you're ever going to come across if you find them and flank them. And you've got good view range and good camo. So, especially with the good mobility of the tank, you can get in, get spotting people, and hopefully get some good assistance. So this T-57 Heavy is out in the open. He's made the mistake of trying to cut this flank. We end up spotting him and getting our whole clip in, keep ourselves moving. But unfortunately there, because we were firing at him at a slight angle, our penetration let us down with the APCR pen drop off over that distance. We do reload the premium, though, to be able to make sure that we are going to pen this man. But we are having to keep moving and stuff because we did get spotted by him. He was just inside our detection range when we fired, so that our camo didn't hold up. But we did get some information shooting at that guy, and that is there is people on the ridgeline over there. So I want to get forward and spot them for my team, because if I spot them up, I'm going to get assistance, and that's exactly what we want being a light tank. We are a scout. We want to get forward and spot for the team and make sure that, you know, that they know the way's clear or there's tanks to be able to shoot. So we end up getting here and spotting the batch at 12T. We unfortunately get spotted there by the Leopard 1, which was the thing in the bush shooting at us a minute ago, and we do manage to start racking up some assistance. Now, obviously, with Erlenberg, that crossing that I took there is what you want to take. You want to be careful because just either side of that crossing or that ford there is really sharp water, and you will drown, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to become the artillery. You don't want to embrace your inner artillery and drown in a game. It's not good. So we're keeping these guys lit. We're trying to keep poking up and keep them spotted, but unfortunately they did go undetected there, and I was still spotted, which I made a bit of a mistake. I shouldn't have repoked, and we took a big hit there from the STG. Now we're unspotted. I want to take a different approach and a different angle at these guys because, well, they know where I am. And I'm in a very exposed and open position, and that's not what we want to be. So we've reloaded the standard APCR because I know I'm not going to really need the premium APCR because I'm going to be hopefully getting some shots into some side and rear. And we're going to try and get up on the ridgeline in front of me, but at a different angle, and try and distract these guys on the hill from the guys in front of them so that we can, you know, just be that, I say, be that nuisance, you know. And we do manage to get a clip into the M46 pattern to shut him down. We're up to 3.2k damage with 2k assistance, which is really nice. And like I say, my thought now is to get up on this ridgeline somewhere over here and get up behind the heavy tanks and that in front of my guys on the D line. Because by doing that, I can either free farm some free shots into those guys where they're not going to react to me, or I'm going to make them turn around. And by making them turn around and being that distraction, they're going to be an easy farm for my allies, which is exactly what we want. We want to progress this game. We want to make it so it's not as much of stalemating. We don't want to... We want to have an impact, right? So the batch at 25T seems to be going in. We end up getting a shot into the side of the Ragnarok's turret, who, like I say, was distracted with the team on the D-line. So we're taking pressure off them by being a nuisance here. Realistically, I probably should have put a shot into the E5, because he did have his ass hanging in the breeze towards us there, and we weren't going to get that final shot into that Ragnarok, so I did make a mistake there. But I'll say, just look how quickly we're reloading. We're nearly there. We're 5 seconds off, and then we're going to be ready to go to dump this clip in. And the target for me is this E5. We get one into his rear and track him in place. We end up going for an awkward shot there, aiming at his rear, but we ended up aiming up a little bit because I panicked because of the Ragnarok and got a shot into the back of his turret, which bounced. But we do get another shot into the back of the E5, and that Ragnarok got a shot into us, which means we're now a one-shot for the Ragnarok, which we've just got to be a bit careful of. So I come up a little bit too high on the ridgeline. Unfortunately enough, I end up getting missed by, I think it was the Leopard that tried to shoot me. Is what it is. We switched to the premium APCR because we only have 3 rounds of 8 standard APCR left, and we don't want to reload all that time for just 3 shells when we've got 4 shells in a clip. You know, it's just wasted potential. So we're nearly reloaded, and hopefully I'll get some shots into this Leopard 1, which is still healthy, which is nice. We're unspotted, but we get spotted by firing. That's because the 65T lights us up. Unfortunately, that guy had the stock turret, so it wasn't as easy to pen. And now there's just the Leopard 1 left. And he ends up getting shut down by the 7.52. And we finished the game in the 13-19, a tier 10 game. Finished with 1 kill, 4.5k damage, 2.5k assistance, 1 destroyed, ace tanker, the Confederate, and 1725 base XP. A good game for the 13-19. And trust me when I tell you, this tank is very capable of very, very big games. The 1390 is such a good light tank. It's a good combination of everything, right? It's got a short clip, it's got good reload, it's got pretty decent mobility, it's got good camo, it's got good view range. It's just a solid all-round tier 9 light tank. And you can be that sort of pseudo-assassin really quite effectively. So we're on to the pinnacle of the line, and this is where we've got 2 replays for you. One is going to be a more spotting orientated replay for this tank, and then the other one is going to be a general ace tanker. So like, yeah, both ways that a light tank can be. And we're on proc, god tier light tank map, and what I'm going to do in the pinnacle of the line, the 13105, is try and go for the bush. Now, unfortunately, we got spotted by the other 13105, and it's like, well, that's a shame. You know what? I'm just going to move and try and get some more shots in. We get another shot into that guy on the move, fortunately enough, but we do miss the final shot. But that means he's now a one-shot for pretty much everyone, which is great. Because obviously with proc, generally, the team with the better light tanks wins. Because the team with the better light tanks will keep the enemy lit up, they'll keep them it'll keep them spotted, and it will keep their positions being given away by basically just being a nuisance. And by doing that, you're also benefiting because you're gaining assistance damage from it. So we just sort of run round on the bowl and end up lighting 2 of the heavy tanks at the back, this Conqueror and T10. Everyone seems to be missing him, so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to throw my clip in. We get 2 shots out, 1 bounces, 1 pens. And we're just going to, again, now we're reloading, keep moving a little bit, and light them up. We're up to 1,800 assistance so far. The Type 59-2 ends up coming in. It's like, sir, hello, what do you want? You're going to get 1 more shot into me before I reload my clip. Fortunately enough, the Vanguard DTC Bush Doctor, the Bush Doctor came in. Yes, Mr. Bush Doctor. He came in, saved us from the Type 59-2, and now we're reloaded. We can get some more spots and shots out on the guys down here. Now, they seem to be quite a lot of them down there, so they seem to be quite well camped in at K23. And we end up spotting that Iron Rain, and that poor Iron Rain gets absolutely slapped up. I end up getting shot there by something on the 1 line, but it bounces. But I'm just chancing it now. I know I've got so many guns behind me, and I know there's so many tanks over here that I want to get them spotted up and benefit from all this assistance that's in front of us. Now we're unspotted. I'm going to stay in this bush for a minute and keep this VK7201K lit. This Valor is also just not getting hit that often. To be honest, I'm expecting them to get hit a little bit more often than they are right now, and I'm quite surprised that they're not just blowing up. Usually when people get spotted like this and we've got such a gun line, people do just blow up. But here's what it is. We're actually sharing a little bit of the assistance with the Vanguard who's running around behind us. But I decided, you know what, that Val is in the open. I'm just going to pop a free shot at that guy and get one in. The VK721K ended up getting on the spot there because he sat in all the bushes. But I'm deciding now, you know what, I'm going to keep moving, keep these guys lit up, and I'm just going to try and get under their gun line and get close up. We end up spotting this T-92 that's going after our light tank, and I think, you know what, I'm keeping these guys lit, but I'm going to try and save my Vanguard. We're going to try and come to the rescue of Mr. Bush Doctor. But unfortunately, we missed both shots on the move, because this gun is derpy, and it's not the most accurate gun in the world, which is why you need the vert stabs, and why you need run and gun, why you need steady aim. You need all the help in the world to make this gun as good as possible, because it can be pretty damn nice to dump this clip, but like I say, it can be pretty derpy too. So we're on to 1,000 assistance, 9,400 damage, sorry, 9,400 assistance. Again, I'm trying to keep these guys lit in front of me so that when they get shot, I'll get assistance. But they don't seem to be getting shot. But I do want to try and keep them lit. I've just been a bit careful of the guys on the 7 line because they could get shots in behind me. There's only one tank left, and he is actually outside my render range probably. There's this 268 version 5, which is gatekeeping us from doing some more damage to the side on 777 version 2. And unfortunately, we end up ricocheting there off the cupola of that 268 version 5, which is really unfortunate. And that's kind of annoying. I'm just like, please, people, kill this 268 version 5 so that I can just go over and dump my clip into these guys. And I'm praying now, because there's only one tank left, I'm praying that I reload in time to be able to dump my clip into him. So I drive over, go for the drive wheel to track him in place, which we end up doing. We get one shot into him. Just as we go for the second, he ends up getting destroyed, but we did get a little bit of assistance. We didn't quite crest that 10k assistance damage, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Finished 1 kill, nearly 2k damage, 9,800 spotting assist, patrol duty, scout medal, the first class. Usually it's ace tankers for these on-track series videos, but I thought that was the perfect sort of spotting replay for this tank. And we had a pretty damn diddly nice game. And we're on to the second replay, and we're on Westfield. Again, a light tank's wet dream, but unfortunately, we're on South Spawn. And South Spawn is poo. No, I'm not a big fan of South Spawn. My plan for South Spawn, when I get it, is rush to K0, because that way I can spot anyone that camps at E0, F0. I can spot that whole line, and my team can hopefully dump shots into them, and I can get big assistance. And it does usually yield big assistance if they don't rush K0 themselves. Now, as you can tell, these replays were from a little while ago. This still has MBA in it, as you can see the A and B cap. That's how long I've had these replays sitting around for, waiting for, well, some of these replays anyway. The others got corrupt. Some of the others got corrupted, so I replaced them with newer replays. That's how long I've been waiting to do these on-track series videos. I'd hoped to start doing them again when I got my new PC, and then I've just never got round to it. Now I've got my new PC, I can actually do them with relative ease, which is pretty nice. So we're at K0, and yeah, the problem, K0, they are rushing it. This 430U is a problem, because he's not actually getting shot by anyone. I track him in place, which was my goal all along, to stop him there, and now I'm just like, okay, I've got to get out of dodge. They are pushing it, right? And it's like, ugh, I wanted to wait until I got unspotted before I made the run. And they are pushing it hard. And I'm just hesitating about leaving, because I'm thinking, right, they are getting shot up, and I'm getting assistance. As you see, 2.1k assistance so far. But then I'm starting getting shot from their side, their little hill over there. And it's like, okay, I've just got to get out. And this game has started terribly. Well, relatively terribly. We're up to 369 damage and 3k assistance. We managed to get out, which is the main thing. We actually managed to get out and get unspotted. But we actually get spotted again by the light tank that was shooting at us. And we've just got to keep ducking and dodging, dipping and dodging and diving and weaving and bobbing. We just got to keep ourselves moving so we don't get hit. And I've got to get out of dodge, because like I say, we're a one-shot for everyone now. That is a big, big problem. And I don't want this game to end yet. We're on Westfield. Westfield is the dream. Like I say, my team didn't go the K line. Their team did. We did have a gun line, but unfortunately they weren't sort of in the position to be able to shoot people on the 0 line as they crossed. They did get a few big shots in, but not enough to dissuade any of them from rushing K0, which just meant that, well, I ended up in a position where I lost all my health. K0 is a very, very aggressive position to take, but it's a risk reward, right? It's a very, very big risk, but it can be very, very rewarding, which is why I do it. So we've come over here, which is not somewhere I'd tend to go with a light tank, but it needs must. The other flank was not working. We managed to get 2 shots into the Leopard there, which is quite nice. And I try and snap a shot into the side of the E5, but unfortunately it doesn't quite go in. And yeah, I just want to affect change on this flank, because obviously the other flank wasn't going well for me. I don't have the hit points to be over there, because if I get spotted, he's probably going to blap me. And, well, any of their tanks are probably going to blap me, and I'll just be dead. So I want to try and be that sneaky assassin. Like I say, get the clip in where I can, keep people spotted, and try and just win the flank. Because there's only 2 guys over here, and actually it seems there's only the E5 left on this flank over here now. So we get rid of this, it frees up the 2 medium tanks that are with us, therefore they can go help the K-line. So we're just going in on this E5, we get 1 in, we get 2 in because we're against his rear, and then we get the final shot in. Now he's starting to turn for us, it's like, okay, goodbye, I'm out, see you later. He's fired, which means I know that I'm not going to get shot by him. And we're going to get out so we can reload. We're up to 3.7k assistance. We were spotting the heavy tank as well that was at C7. And we've got a little bit of tracking as well on the E5. And we're up to 2.1k damage. And we're just waiting for the reload so that we can get this ST1 out of the way that's in front of us. And this 430U, actually, to be honest, I'm looking at it and this Panzerwagen is a problem. So I decided, you know what, okay, I'm going for the Panzerwagen. So we try and get 1 in. Unfortunately, it misses. That's it. I wanted to go for the ST1 there and help the 430U, which is what I was thinking about doing. Unfortunately enough, we managed to snap a shot in to actually finish off the Leopard there. And we're going to help out that 430U finally and get a final shell into that guy to put him onto a one-shot for him. I wanted to help the 430U out, but the Panzerwagen is a problem because his view range is massive. He's spotting my TDs, he's been a nuisance for them, and obviously he's going to stop me if I try and go and spot their tanks. Because he will outspot me, well, he'll probably spot me at the same time as I spot him. And the way it is in this day and age, he'll probably just LBRT me and end up snapping me and killing me. Because I'm a one-shot for him, he's not a one-shot for me, you know? But now we're in a position where we've got to help these guys out. There's nothing left on this northern flank, so it would be a waste to just sit and wait on the northern flank and wait for them to come up. So what I'm doing is I'm now running to try and spot their K-line, and I'm going to, again, be a nuisance. And we've ended up turning this T95 by being a nuisance. Unfortunately, didn't quite take the initiative to get shots into him, but we do end up taking a fair bit of his health and being a distraction, and we were spotting the K-lines. We spot that 268 version 5, which is really nice. We're up to 5k assistance, 3.5k damage, and again, we're just waiting for the reload, and what I'm going to do is park up, wait for a second, get going, and go along the K-line. So now we know where the T95 is. I want to get into a position to get shots into his side and rear, because again, he's being a pain for my tanks. But he gets shut down by the artillery, and it's like, right, okay, the artillery shut him down. Now we're going to go up this K-line, spot the 268 version 5, and spot anything else that's over here. And if there's anything sitting where the Panzerwagen was or where the T95 was, we'll be able to get side shots at them, and again, creating a crossfire. And as we come over, there's actually a chisel, and it's like, oh, that's bad. I wasn't expecting the chisel to just be sat there. Fortunately enough, he misses. He ends up starting getting blapped. I can't kill him yet with the 2 shells left in my clip. So I'm just going to keep running. I'm going to keep running and seeing if I can light anything else up. But now I've been unspotted. It's like, right, okay, we're going to play the reverse. He's going to think I'm running away, and I can come up behind him, get 2 shots in. But then there's the 268 version 5, and it's like, oh, God, hello. We managed to shut him down, and then we make a massive mistake and shoot the dead wreck of the 268 version 5 because we were auto-aiming instead of getting a shot into the rear of the chisel. But fortunately enough, the Jagdpanzer shuts the chisel down. We're up to 3.8k damage, 6.4k assist. We're having a wonderful game because, I mean, at the end of the day, we're above 10k combined now, which is always fantastic. And now I want to go get the artillery. Now, we know there's a tank on the 1 line. We know there's a tank up north, and there's the TDs over there. And I was like, right, okay, you know what, I'm going to help my TDs out by getting rid of their artillery, because that means that they can stay safe in their positions. But the Death Star gets spotted. And it's like, well, I'll just dump my clip into the Death Star. But unfortunately, the final shot ends up missing. And just as Obviously, I fired that second, or that last shot, sorry. Ironically, sod's law, the ST1 gets spotted. And we could have finished him off. But just as I poke up into that bush to stay there, to stay spotting the ST1, we end up getting spotted. And it's like, wait, what? The artillery's there? Excuse me? We're going to wait for this clip to go in so we can shut down this ST1 because we get unspotted. We pop the shot blind and we shut him down. And now we're going to poke around the corner to see if we can spot this artillery up, which we do. We fire one, get behind cover as quick as possible. He ends up blowing his load too soon. And we shut him down, which is great. That's one artillery down. There's one left. We know where two of their tanks are. Two of the tanks are up on the one line. And it's like, okay, once again... well, actually, we know where all their tanks are. The Death Star's in the B cap and the other two tanks are on the one line. Again, I want to get rid of the artillery because getting rid of artillery is always great. But B cap is a problem right now. There's a Death Star in it. And if no one goes to shut down the Death Star, it's just going to cap it out. And obviously with NBA at the time, it was quite quick to cap out. So it was like, right, I'm going to have to can my search for the artillery once again. And go for this Death Star, be the nuisance, get rid of him, reset, and get him from a position that he's probably not expecting me to get him from. So we get up behind him, get one in, we get two in, and then we get the third in. We're turning him round, so again, hopefully someone gets the finishing shot in. And fortunately enough, the waffle shuts him down. We're up to 6.1k damage now with 6.7k assistance. A wonderful game. The Panzerwagen's coming in. It's like, hello, Mr. Panzerwagen, have you met my waffle? My waffle friend shuts him down. Wonderful stuff. And there's just one tank left, and it's finally time. Finally time to go hunt that final piggy. The best time of the day. Piggy hunting time. Let's go. Let's go get that piggy, get up a scooches, and have fun. The 13105. I do enjoy this tank nowadays. I never used to enjoy it pre-6.0 because the gun handling was trash. But now with the camo net making the camo so good, and the vert stabs making the gun just completely bearable, the short time it takes to get this clip out, the fairly decent reload, you're just like a mini Batchat, and it's pretty damn nice to do as a play as a light tank. It's an okay light tank. The whole line is generally pretty decent to play. It's not a chore. It's just pretty damn decent. And I have to say the tier 9 is the best in the line. But this tier 10 isn't too bad. Unfortunately, we ended up doing track damage only because of heat to the T92, but it is what it is. And we finished the game top on the team, 4 kills, 6.1k damage, 7,222 assistance. That's like, what, 14k combined, something like that. Ace Tanker, Patrol Duty, High Caliber, 1,900 base XP with the 4 kills, like I say. A really, really great game for the 13105. It's what 13, 14k combined, something like that. That's always great for a tier 10. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!